The Denver Broncos were one of the surprises of the 2024 season as they made the 2024 playoffs, but unfortunately lost to Buffalo. But it was an absolute positive season, I think, for the entire Broncos nation. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down what Broncos fans can expect them to do in the 2025 offseason. But before we do that, if you like the work that Ryan and I put out and you want to help see the Tracy Take channel grow, the easiest way is by hitting that subscribe button, tackling that bell to get notified when new videos come out. And while you're at it, leave a like and a comment. Let us know what you want to see the Broncos do this offseason. And Ryan, I think a lot of people, and especially this channel as well, so I think
Yeah.
we're fully admitting how wrong we were. But I think a lot of people, though, were like, the Broncos had no chance coming into
Oh,
this offseason.
yeah.
And what Sean Payton was able to do, what Bo Nix was able to do for this team, I think was very impressive. It's going to make it very interesting here as well on what this AFC West could look like over the next couple of years, because I think the Chargers also took steps in the right directions. As both teams made the playoffs, they absolutely both took steps in the right direction. I think Kansas City might be a little vulnerable over these next couple of years. And the Raiders, who knows what's going on with the Raiders right now? They had the best tight end in the league, but other than that, though, still a lot of question marks. And so with Denver here, I think it was a phenomenal season for the team, especially too with the lowest of expectations as well. For Bo Nix to come out and have the season that he had, Sean Payton is definitely moved on from the "Let's Ride" era, and I think it is now all "Let's Win" era
Yeah.
in Denver. And I think Broncos fans like that era a lot more. So I want to throw it over to you here. What were some of the things you liked, but also some areas you think the Broncos need to improve on to go further into the 2025 season?
Yeah. I mean, first off, you got to like Bo Nix's performances throughout the season. And I
Oh, yeah.
think offensively, they did a lot better job just controlling the game, like not turning over the football, and putting defenses in binds. And I think a lot of credit goes to Sean Payton for that, but you also have to give the nod to Bo Nix, I think, for executing and doing what was asked of him. And that's not easy for rookie quarterbacks to do, despite what we've seen the last couple seasons from Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, and others. So all in all, like you have to be happy. My biggest thing that, and I kind of compared it, made this comparison in the AFC wildcard matchup, but this does reek a little bit of Mac Jones' rookie season. Like they definitely, and they'll do a better job of bringing playmakers to this team. But you have a good defense that is statistically performing well, but the offense is average. And like statistically, you can see 20th ranked passing offense, 16th ranked rushing offense. They were able to keep Bo Nix clean. They didn't like make a lot of mistakes, and like they were able to be 10th in points, but not a lot of yards, not a lot of like real elite offensive production, and so I do have some concerns that this is like the 2021 Patriots with Mac Jones, of like this might just be how good this offense is. Now you hope Bo Nix and this offense can take another leap and they can continue to add weapons. And the big thing for me is going to be improving that running game, just because Javonte Williams, Audric Estime, that offensive line at times struggled to get a consistent push. But I do have that concern in the back of my head.
So I think that's a fair point of view that it could be Mac Jones.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it
But well,
guaranteed is.
no. I know you're not. Here's why I don't think it is a couple things. One is, so Bill Belichick was also the guy drafting, and he was a defensive head coach as well. He didn't
Mhm.
value offensive players nearly as much. And I think one of the areas the Broncos need to improve on is just getting better skill position players. And with Sean Payton being the offensive coach that he is and the mastermind that he is, I think he knows like what could this offense be if we add some elite playmakers to
Yeah.
this offense. And one of the unique things too is here as well is I think there may be a sneaky T Higgins team as well here. T Higgins, I think he looks good in orange. I think he's played well in orange. That's reason number one, obviously. But Broncos are sitting at 36 million in cap here, and I think they can clear up some more space. I think he'd be an interesting guy to go and be in that offseason talk of if they want to go and bring him in, especially too as well. this defense performed really well. They had a couple of key guys that were hurt for a majority of the season, like Alex Singleton, who it was wild. He finished the game with an ACL tear at linebacker, which is wild. But and so we'll talk more about free agents here in a second. But I think that's the biggest reason why is I think the way that Bill Belichick and the Patriots drafted versus how Sean Payton's going to draft. I think Sean Payton is just going to draft more offensive players. It's going to be more of a priority. So I think they're going to bring in those weapons. And if anything, maybe the defense falls off just a tad because it's more priority on the offense. But imagine, though, too, he was doing this with like Courtland Sutton. It was good to see him finally have a quarterback that could throw to him. But they were having this type of production with Courtland Sutton out there. Not, in my opinion, like the best of tight ends in the league. Marvin Mims is a very fun player to watch, but he is a boom, like explosive guy or bust type of player.
Yeah.
I guess I'm saying boom or bust as in almost like more of a fantasy perspective, but I guess I do mean that more like what he would bring to the team here. Devon Vile came out of nowhere and he was having a good second half of the season. Troy Franklin, he only had 263 yards. So they had a lot of players that had 200 or more receiving yards, but still like not a great cast of characters. So imagine if they did bring in some better talent, like if they drafted
Courtland
Buka, who's a very consistent guy, or if they got a Colson Loveland who could come in and be like that number one tight end guy for them, or Tyler Warren, I think would be interesting as well. So that's where I think this offense could actually just keep on improving. I think Bo Nix showed that like he can't be the guy in Denver. Obviously.
Yeah, but Courtland Sutton is I'll use the word premier. He's a premier X receiver in this league. He's just been on some really bad Broncos teams, and I don't think a lot of people really sing his praises as much.
Oh yeah.
And so with the T Higgins, I see a little bit of overlap there. I think they might be in the more Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin market. But yeah, definitely adding a veteran wide receiver kind of as we transition over into this free agent portion. Like adding a veteran wide receiver, I think is going to be a really big thing there. If they can get a tight end that could maybe fill that role as well, I think that would be really important. Zach Allen was their best pass rusher, so they get an edge rusher in there. That would be good. And then adding more depth into that. I say more depth, maybe getting a top dog in that running back room. Where other guys can kind of be spellbacks for that guy. So some of their free agents, Cody Barton, Jaquan McMillan, Javonte Williams, Little Jordan Humphrey, DJ Jones, Jordan Jackson, Levi Wallace. They got a lot of guys on here that are going to be hitting free agents. A lot of, I think, like rotational players or backups. Not a lot of guys that are going to be taking a high percentage of snaps, but still going to be guys that you're going to have to replace with other veterans and rotational pieces.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting here. Though I think DJ Jones could be a guy that they'd want to bring back here as well, like 17-game starter. So, but to your point though, it's going to be it's going to be interesting what avenue they want to do, because if you really want to help improve this team, like as we've talked about, you need to add on those skill position players here. And so that I think is going to be fascinating on which route they want to go. And some free agents, I think they could target, like T. Higgins is going to be a guy we talked about. Brandon Cooks, I think, would be another guy. They want to save a couple of bucks, but have a veteran receiver in there that can come in and be a good piece for Bo Nix to rely on. I think getting Jaylen Warren for the running back room, I think would be very interesting. I think he would pair up well with Audric Estime if they want to address the running back position. Aaron Jones might also be an interesting position as well if they don't want to re-sign Javonte Williams, but bring him in with his veteran experience. I think tight end position as well. Zach Ertz, once again, another just veteran piece. And Jada Daniels has really relied on Zach Ertz this season. If Washington doesn't want to bring him back and start to transition to Ben Sinnott in Washington, then I think Zach Ertz could be a guy that they could go after. And so in the draft, we've already mentioned some of these names here as well, but like Emeka Egbuka, Tyler Warren, Luther Burden, I think would be a very interesting guy. We'll talk about the exact opposite of Courtland Sutton. Luther Burden, I think, would be like the exact opposite. So that might be some overlap though with Marvin Mims. If we're talking about some overlap. So that's why I think maybe an Emeka Egbuka would be more your traditional like slot receiver right there. But and there's a couple other good guys here as well, like Jack Beck, Savion Williams, Trayvon Henderson in day two. I do think a running back that's not on here, if Ashton Genty falls a little bit, I do believe the Broncos could trade up and go get that guy. Because if we're talking about like best player available, like skill position player available for this team, Ashton Genty, I think, is better than Emeka Egbuka and Tyler Warren and Luther Burden. Like he's one of the few blue chips in this draft prospect. And you would go put him in that backfield with Bo Nix and kind of what this offense could become. And he's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. It's something I think a lot of people did see this year, something that you've talked about a lot, especially in our mock drafts that we do every Tuesday on Tracy Take Tuesday. So be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified when those videos come out. But I think that's going to be kind of a sneaky spot here as well if they want to be super aggressive. That being said, it is a very deep running back class, and I can see them getting like a day 2, day 3 running back. But Genty is on a different level than a lot of these guys if they want to be aggressive.
Yeah, no, and I think that's somewhat reasonable. They just don't have a ton of draft capital, I think, to go up, especially like early on. They have what is that? 1, 2,
7
3.
picks.
They have so 7 picks. They have 2, 3 6-rounders. They don't have a 5th. So if they want to be aggressive, this isn't a super strong draft class to like make a lot of picks in anyways. So they could go up and potentially do that there. So we'll have to see. I think all in all though, for the Broncos, you touched on it. I think keep adding weapons, keep bolstering this offensive line, keep Bo Nix upright and kind of doing like the little things to make your offense be as productive as possible. And I think that they could easily avoid being the 2021 Patriots. So
Yeah.
kind of bringing this video here full circle. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you want to see the Denver Broncos do in the 2025 offseason. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.